Are you looking for the best RAM for Ryzen 5000 CPUs? In this video we will look at some of the best RAM for Ryzen 5000 CPUs. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 4. Corsair Vengeance LPX DDR4 4000 MHz. Why isn't the best performing RAM the same as the best overall RAM for Ryzen 5000? Well, let's put it like this. If you asked me what the best car for racing was, I'm not going to point to an affordable sedan that most people are going to be able to afford, own, and operate. The same rules apply here, and the Corsair Vengeance 64GB DDR4 4000 MHz is not going to be geared towards the everyday PC user. Instead, you are going to have to be either incredibly dedicated to your hobbies, or need a lot of computing power to warrant this kind of RAM size. To keep things short and simple, everything I previously said about Corsair applies here. This is still a quality piece of kit, and the DDR4 4000 advertisement does exactly what it says. Paired with the 64GB total space contained on these two RAM sticks, however, and you are going to find that you have a lot of room in your PC to run a lot of applications, at pretty high speeds. Now, if you are seriously considering buying RAM of this caliber, I will say this: it would pair best with the Ryzen 950-950X chip, plainly because you are going to want to make the most out of any possible CPU/RAM pairing. This matchup is probably going to be able to handle anything you throw at it as well, so don't fret if you often work on software-heavy programs, in UHD files, or other processor-heavy applications, as this RAM is going to be able to handle it with ease, and with the same low latency, quick memory times you might find in smaller Corsair RAM kits. Now, it doesn't have RGB. But does that really matter? We are talking the best RAM for performance here, and RGB is the equivalent of a go faster stripe, so trust me, it has no bearing. Realistically, if you want unmatched processor speed and application load capabilities within your PC, then this is the RAM to go for. It just doesn't come cheap. Number 3. Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro DDR4 3200 MHz. If you are concerned with the amount of money you might have to put down in order to get quality RAM into your PC, then you would better make sure that every penny is going into a product that will give you every penny's worth, and that's where the Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro comes in. If you aren't familiar with Corsair, they are a PC building and gaming brand that fast rose to the forefront of the component and computer market thanks to the overall quality of their products. Pre-built PCs, mice, RAM, Corsair pretty much do it all, and they have a lot of experience doing it. So when it comes to squeezing out every single penny's worth of performance, you can invest happily in the Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro. Now, right off the bat, you are going to notice that the Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro DDR4 3200 RAM, you guessed it, only comes with a factory clock of 3200 MHz. Don't get put off by that number though. The Corsair RAM kits come factory made with components that AMD loves to work with, and their CPU chips have traditionally run brilliantly alongside. Those Samsung B0 die chips that are commonly used in RAM kits? Corsair is using them here in the Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro, and historically that's great news for AMD users as it usually means maximized performance. Then you have the latency. At its factory setting, it works great and gives you fast, don't forget this is DDR4, performance with a latency you can't be disappointed in. But, if you did want to overclock your RAM here, then we expect it would be perfectly possible to achieve maybe a 300 to 600 MHz boost, making it at least a DDR4 3600 kit instead of DDR4 3200 depending on your other components and how the RAM plays with them. Then of course you have the RGB, which performs as you would expect, and Corsair's RGB controllers allow you to sync up your lighting with other RGB products from their lines. But all of that is suited to taste, and if I'm being completely honest, in the world of RGB, these RAM sticks are very run-of-the-mill. That's not a bad thing though. This Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro kit is $85, and for that price reliable, boilerplate RGB is pretty good. If you do want a little more for your money though, you could put down another $50 and get yourself the 32GB of this RAM kit. Remember, the DDR4 4000 RAM kits previously listed here are all 16GB. So you are effectively doubling your load capacity here, and not losing any latency for it. So, saving money, reliable speed, and latency with a decent looking exterior all for under $100. All of this makes the Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro RAM kit a brilliant start point for those money-conscious PC builders with the new Ryzen 5000 CPU in their PC. Number 2. Thermaltake TOUGHRAM RGB DDR4 4400 MHz. Okay, so I spent some time talking about how the 4000 MHz frequency was the one touted by AMD, and therefore should be stuck to by all strictest definition when it comes to choosing the best RAM for Ryzen 5000 CPUs. Thermaltake makes some seriously impressive products. It's what they do, and they do it well, and their TOUGHRAM series is no exception at all. And that's the first reason they make such a great RAM kit for the new Ryzen 5000 CPU, because the TOUGHRAM itself acts exactly as you want it to as a kit of RAM. First off, the heatsink present in the kit is top-notch, and really does geet when it comes to temperature management. That quality is present throughout the kit as well, with the TOUGHRAM sticks being made with high-quality parts that suggest TOUGHRAM as a long-term investment. The RGB on the sticks is high quality as well. Easily controlled with the free TOUGHRAM software, you can easily customize your RGB patterns to have them the exact way you like, bright, dark, integrated with your PC or Amazon Alexa for an all-encompassing RGB glow, or you can actually set it to use. The TOUGHRAM software lets you take a peek inside the RAM itself, giving you a look into the temperature, load size, temperature, and frequency of your RAM kit, so you're never caught out when it comes to internal performance. And if that wasn't enough, you can actually tune your RGB lighting to give you an alert if your CPU, RAM, or memory is in danger, so a light of your choice blinks on to give you a handy real-world alert. And then there is the performance itself. This RAM gives out the DDR4 4000 MHz performance you might expect, although whether or not the Ryzen 5000 series will be able to handle that speed competently is anyone's guess at this stage, especially when you take overclocking into account, which again, with the right motherboard is totally possible in this RAM. However, the 4000 MHz on the box is just the manufacturer's ceiling. If anything, it's giving you some wiggle room when it comes to increasing your speed as the capabilities of both the motherboard and CPU are developed and uncovered during their life cycle. Then you have the price of the TOUGHRAM itself, and it's great. Around $100, give or take 20 here and there, but for that price, you can overlook certain factors like how certain timings with the RAM itself could be tightened up a little, but to be honest, the overall latency and speed of this RAM kit is hard to beat at the price, and some personalized tinkering with the settings might net you a better result. In summary, if you are looking for attractive, cost-effective, reliable, and fast RAM for Ryzen 5000, then Thermaltake's TOUGHRAM is the one for you. Number 1. G.Skill Trident Z Royal Series DDR4 4000 MHz. The G.Skill brand isn't a new one. In fact, if you have any history in the world of computers or PC building, then you are going to be fairly familiar with G.Skill's work, as they are one of the biggest names in the memory game, and their RAM kits are a staunch favorite amongst those with a gaming PC and general PC users worldwide. So, it's no surprise then that their Trident Royal Z RAM has made it to the top of our list of the best RAM for Ryzen 5000, and that's for a few reasons. The first being that this Trident Royal Z RAM is clocked at 4000 MHz. This is important because even AMD themselves have come out and said that the Ryzen 5000 series has been optimized and designed for use with 4000 MHz RAM kits. This is basically due to the reasons I outlined before about how RAM allows the CPU to communicate faster with the other components in the PC. 4000 MHz RAM is the fastest way to allow that. So, a little bit more about what makes the G.Skill Trident Z Royal RAM ideal for Ryzen 5000 then. First off is the latency. You are going to find that this kit offers an amazingly low latency coupled with a fast memory allocation speed, which paired together means you are going to experience some pretty quick computational speeds from your CPU. If you have yourself a high-end gaming PC, this is all going to come together to bring you high frame rates, faster load times, and generally better in-game performance. That's if you're a gamer. If you work in any other field such as media, like music production for example, you are going to find that this RAM allows your processor to work much faster within editing software, helping shift the load speed and tasks from the CPU around your PC much quicker, making the editing bay a much less stressful environment. And if you are wondering to yourself why we are touting a 4000 MHz kit, outside of the fact that it's what the manufacturer recommends, it's because this RAM for Ryzen 5000 can actually be overclocked, as long as you have the capable motherboard. Now, in the past, AMD branded CPUs have had an issue with faster RAM kits, but with the 5000 series accepting 4000 MHz memory as standard, it could be interesting to see what kind of performance you can get from your CPU by unlocking its performance, and this RAM kit can perform far better than the specifications on the box. If you are looking for negatives to this particular best RAM for Ryzen 5000 kit, then you could argue that it runs a little pricey and that its power consumption is a little high, but realistically, for the performance you are getting and the output, the promised lifespan of the G.Skill Trident Z Royal, you really are getting what you pay for. Plus it has RGB that looks like diamonds. That has no bearing at all on performance, but the lighting control software that G.Skill developed to control the RGB on their RAM is easy to use, and pretty handy if you like your RAM to shine like a diamond mine. Or not, as admittedly, the RGB can be a little overwhelming at its factory settings.